Healthpreneurs, what's up? Yuri here. Today I want to help you become a lot more productive in what you do. Now behind me right here is a baseball diamond, and I mean, this is actually where a lot of kids play. I'm actually very close to my kids' school right now. The reason I want to share this with you, and the reason for this baseball diamond back here, is that a lot of entrepreneurs approach their businesses and the way they work without much thought. They kind of just go, grind and hustle. And that seems to be the tagline of the day, right? Just work till you're dead, right? And the sooner the better type of thing. And listen, I'm all for hard work. I think there's a time and place to plant the seeds and kind of get to work. But that should not be the bane of your existence. It should not be the majority of what you do day in and day out for the rest of your life. So a little while ago, I put together a new thinking tool called the 3-phase productivity system, which was initially inspired by Dan Sullivan from Strategic Coach, and they have a different type of entrepreneurial time system that didn't necessarily work for me, but I kind of modified it a little bit, put my own spin on it, and this is what I want to share with you here. So before I share that with you, think about it this way. So the reason I'm sharing this baseball diamond behind here is because athletes get this, even if they're not aware of this. If you probably have played sports at some point in your life, high performance or otherwise, you will know that it's impossible to have high performance as an athlete every single day of the week. You can't perform, you can't be like on top of your game playing games every single day, right? Think about football. There's one game a week, right? In soccer, there's one game a week, maybe a Champions League, so let's call it 2 games a week. Baseball might be the exception. They play, seems like they play all the time. But for the most part, athletes cannot play a game every single day of their life, because what would happen if they did? They would burn out. And that's why there's not many pro athletes beyond 35 years old, because their body simply can't maintain that level of intensity and just stress and training and so forth. So that's the first example. The second example is, if you have any background in strength and conditioning, you'll probably be very well versed in this concept known as periodization. Periodization essentially means that we have a buildup of weeks. So we start here, we build it up, and then we kind of bring it back down so our body recovers, and then we super compensate to a higher level than we were at before. But if we keep going and going, that leads to burnout. So we have all these great analogies from the world of athletics and sports, but very often in business, we forget about that. We think that, okay, I'm gonna work 10 hours a day, every single day, and it's all gonna be good. It doesn't happen. So I want you to think about the way you approach your time like an athlete. It's actually synonymous as well, very similar to, think of it like intermittent fasting for work. You don't have to be eating all the time. You don't have to be working all the time. There's a lot of benefit to intermittent fasting on the body. There's a lot of benefit to not doing anything for your business as well. So in my book, The All-Day Fat Burning Diet, I talked about this. I had this little rhyme that was said, some days high, some days low, some days yes, some days no, as it pertains to caloric intake. And think of it that way with respect to your work output, your mental capacity on a day-to-day basis. Some days high, some days low, some days yes, some days no. So let's walk through this 3-phase productivity system. We have 3 phases, right? There's 3 different components to how we want to look at our time. Number 1 is we have produce. Produce is, think of the athlete playing the game, right? So it's Friday Night Lights, it's the big game, that is produce. Then we have prep. Prep is the training that gets you ready for the game. And then finally, we have pause. Pause is, as the name implies, pause, do nothing, right? Rest, recover. So we've got produce, prep, and pause. Now let's take that to the world of business and our work. When you're producing, right, and everyone's gonna be a little bit different, producing are the activities that are gonna employ your unique genius. Now, for instance, for some people that might mean speaking on stage. And actually, I'm gonna make an argument here that for the most part, all of us, our unique genius, our produce activities are gonna be some form of communication. So this is an example, this video is an example of a produce activity in my life, where I'm gonna get in front of a camera or on a mic and I'm gonna share a message. I'm gonna share my ideas with my audience. That's an example of a produce activity. Now, the cool thing, and a simple way to think about this for you, is the vast majority of produce activities in your life require no internet. So if you're on the internet, you know, unless you're selling over the phone or on Skype or DMing someone on Instagram and enrolling a client, I would say 95% of your produce activities should have nothing to do with the internet. Okay, so we're talking about sharing ideas. I'm creating a video right now. This is not live on the internet yet. Once that's done, then we can move into the prep phase. The prep phase is pretty much, there's a lot of different activities that can fall under the prep phase. I'm not going to go into them here, but prep, think about, taking this video and now getting it online or giving it to the right people to bring into fruition. So the prep is kind of the planning, is the kind of filling in the gaps between the produce and the actual execution live, if you will, of getting that all done. And then finally we have pause. Now pause is, again, it can take a number of different forms. It could take the form of doing nothing, like literally laying in the grass here and looking at the sky, or taking a break. For instance, on Wednesdays, for me, I have a pause, which basically means I stop working at noon. So noon until the rest of the day, until I go to sleep, I don't do anything work related. And I know that's very, very tough to even comprehend, let alone execute, but I do my very best. So we want to fill that time with activities or nothingness that really just removes us from the business, removes us from thinking in terms of like the real kind of heavy output and grinding and hustling and being on our phone, being on our computer. These are the times where we want to step away from all that, because like with periodization, it's the recovery phase that helps us bounce back stronger. And if we don't have enough pause in our lives, we are going to burn out. So that's the produce, prep, and pause, 3-phase productivity system. Now, if that makes sense to you, give this a thumbs up, share it with someone who might enjoy this as well. And if you need help really identifying what you should be doing in your business that actually moves the needle the most, then DM me, just send me a message to be like, hey man, I'm totally lost. I don't even know what to focus on. Let's have a quick chat. Let's get on the phone if we need to, and we'll walk you through how we can perhaps move you from where you are to where you want to be. Because the reality is there's probably a lot of things you're doing in your business that you probably shouldn't be doing or not doing at the level you're doing them at. And there's other things you're maybe not even aware of that you should be doing that you're not doing at all. So we want to get clear on that, because a lot of times breakthroughs in your business and in your life can come from a really simple shift. And if we're not even aware of what that might be, well, we're not aware of it and we can't make that happen. So anyways, I hope this video finds you well. If you want help with this, just send me a quick message and let's have a chat. All right, talk to you soon.